It's R and in the morning. Welcome on to San Antonio Sports Star. It's Thursday. It's just after 8:30. The appointment has been kept. We'd like to welcome on the show RJ Ochoa of Blogging the Boys. Good morning, RJ. You feeling good about pitchers and catchers walking into the league?
Oh, yeah.
I am. I'm feeling great. It's great to be with you guys. Good morning, of course. What a wonderful reality that we lived in. Thank God we don't have to live in that alternate one. You know, there's an alternate 2023 where Marty and the Doc and I'm sure Biff are still running around in that casino. Thank God we don't have to be there.
I'm glad they fixed it.
I see you in a world championship, and I had to look close because I knew it looks too new, so I knew it wasn't a Cowboys shirt, but it's the Astros.
Well, this was a Philadelphia loss, so I felt like that was appropriate.
So you're rubbing it into Philly. Yeah.
I'm trying to be considerate, but I'm certainly not holding back. I'll say that.
So CBS, RJ, yeah, Philly. The Phillies go down, the Eagles go down, and the MLS team goes down, and Cowboy fan rejoices. And I have no problem with it because the Cowboy fan takes heat all year long, all season long, regular season, playoffs. Everybody comes for him. But CBS, RJ, told us that the Cowboys had the 5th ranked rookie class in all of the NFL, which Rob and I broke it down. There are some really good rookies on this team. What does this mean for some of the vets on the team that may be on the bubble as we approach March?
I don't know that there's a player who's going to be like a cut or something from training camp because of rookie, but I think it does affect maybe your outlook on Leighton Vander Esch, on Anthony Brown, if you feel as inclined to bring them back in free agency. Those are players who you certainly want back, and you certainly want to be greedy, but Damone Clark, proved to be a reliable linebacker option for you if Leighton does move on, and obviously he'll be better in year 2. You assume that. And as far as corner, Deron Bland gave you a lot more options. And so if you don't get Anthony Brown back, it's not the end of the world now. And so that's the way it's done. That's the way good teams do it. And the Cowboys have a good draft class, but the hope is that they don't rest on those laurels the way they have in the past.
RJ Ochoa of Blogging the Boys joining us here on R&R. With the hiring of Brian Schottenheimer to take over whatever offensive coordinator role they define for him, what does that mean with the exodus of all things Garrett and Kellen Moore and everybody had anything to do with them? What does this mean to the offense? What do you expect Schottenheimer to give Kellen or give Dak and this offense? Is it scaled back offense? Do you think things roll along the same? What do you expect?
All due respect to Brian Schottenheimer, and I hope that his promotion included a pay raise and maybe a bigger office.
Here we go.
I don't know that his role means much is different as far as what Mike McCarthy deems to be different. Brian Schottenheimer is very clearly a McCarthy guy, and that sounds like he's some sort of pawn. I mean, no, that's an important thing. Mike McCarthy wanted somebody who he trusts, somebody who to install the game plan based on what Mike McCarthy likes. And so in some ways, I mean, Brian Schottenheimer is the moving part of Mike McCarthy's brain throughout the week. And so I do think that Brian Schottenheimer will be an important factor in the run game and kind of picking and choosing how the Cowboys are going to attack whoever they're playing as far as how the run is concerned. But things will move and flow through Mike McCarthy. And so it all ultimately will be contingent upon him. I don't think that Schottenheimer is bringing anything new to the table, any sort of new scheme or anything like that. This is Mike McCarthy's offense, and Brian Schottenheimer is kind of the head lieutenant of it.
Okay. With that said, let's stay there. When Dak is the starter the last 2 years, they've been number 1. McCarthy and Schottenheimer can only go down, right?
I mean, it depends on how you view or I guess value being number 1, right? Like, cool, they blew out Washington in 2021.
Well,
cool, they blew out.
It was cool at the time, though, RJ. We were celebrating it at the time.
You're right, but I mean and I don't mean to cherry pick, but they weren't that offense when it mattered the most, right? And that's why these decisions have been made. I mean, there's a big difference between blowing out a bad Chicago Bears team in October and only putting up 12 points on the board in January in the divisional round. And that's what they're expecting to be different. And it sounds so silly. It sounds like, oh, well, he didn't win the big game, so something has to change. But like, something had to change. I mean, like, to your point, they've been the best offense in the NFL in a lot of objective, measurable ways for the last 2 years. And so what's the problem then, right? And it's presumably not the head coach, presumably not the quarterback. So the water has to go somewhere, and it went out with Kellen Moore.
He is RJ Ochoa, blogging the boys. Make sure you're hitting that on the regular if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, and following him at RJ Ochoa. I'm looking at your site right now, and there's all these opportunities to look at free agents and who they're talking about. I see DJ Chark being mentioned as a wide receiver. I heard Paris, not Hilton, but Campbell, as another mention with the Colts that could be a potential landing spot. RJ Ochoa as general manager. Place your hierarchy of needs here for the Cowboys. Get help for Dak. Is it offensive line help? Is it receiver help? Where are you looking first, second, third?
Just to be clear, Paris, no relation to T.Y. Another potential free agent target for the Cowboys, obviously, if they bring him back.
Right.
But I mean, people get sick of hearing this because people say things like, how much help does he need? But the answer is help for Dak. I mean, and look at the help. And this doesn't mean that they're lesser players, but look at the help that Jalen Hurts has. And he's an amazing quarterback, but he has a lot of help. Look at the help that even Patrick Mahomes has. I know it doesn't feel like a lot, but he has Travis Kelce. He has Marquez Valdes-Scantling. He has Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. He has these explosive playmakers. I mean, that's the difference. I mean, it's Dak Prescott, all due respect to everybody. It's CeeDee Lamb and R&R in the morning. I mean, that's basically what they're working with, on a week-to-week basis. And so they have to find help. You cannot – the Cowboys have been this team that has presumed that what they design Monday through Saturday is going to work out and win on Sunday. And sometimes it will. But what happens when it doesn't? What happens when somebody gets hurt or somebody's taken away? You have to find somebody else who can win. And they don't have that person. They don't have that player. They don't have that alternative option. And so this has to be an offseason where the total and complete devotion is spent getting more weapons. You have to have more. I mean, I thought the A.J. Brown trade was so stupid last year, but did Howie Roseman say, we have a number one wide receiver in Devontae Smith. We're good. He said, no, it's better than 1, 2. Let's be like Adam Driver in episode 8. More. And so that's the mentality the Cowboys have to have.
When Travis Kelce, out of all the tight ends in the league, brings up one of the up-and-comers that he really likes is Jake Ferguson, should Dalton Schultz put his house on the market or look into what it's going to take to break his lease?
All due respect to Dalton Schultz, who you have to be careful about on social media. He is quick with the block button. So
are you blocked by Schultz? Hold on. Are you blocked?
Oh yeah, I've been blocked by Dalton Schultz for a long time, and I'm not.
And you were a champion of young Dalton.
I like Schultz, man.
I'm not somebody who's like tweeting at players like you.
No, I know.
Way to go. Way to drop that. But like, he is one of those players, it seems, who will search his name. And if you say something disparaging, he's had enough. It's his world. It's his right. So just be careful is my point. Watch out for the station at this point, given the conversation. But Dalton Schultz should already be looking elsewhere, I think. I mean, he has to read the room. He has to understand. I mean, I think there is an argument to be made. I mean, you look at both the teams in the Super Bowl, they both have dynamic playmaking tight ends. And so you think like, well, wouldn't you want to keep Dalton Schultz? Yeah, but is he that? I mean, like, is he worth, the reality is Dalton Schultz got paid $11 million a year ago on the franchise tag. So if our job is to negotiate for Dalton Schultz, okay, where's the price start, guys? $11 million a year. He's simply not worth that in my estimation, and so he'll probably be playing elsewhere.
Okay, given the list, we look like Schultz is going to be gone. Let's go down a couple other guys. What are your thoughts? Leighton Vander Esch, here or gone?
I think he's probably the most important player to bring back. That being said, if he doesn't return, it's not the end of the world. They don't have a free agent like that to where, they're totally crippled if they're gone. But I think he played himself into an ice field elsewhere. I would bet he's gone. It'll be a bummer, but I bet he's playing elsewhere in 2023.
I'm going to keep giving you some more names real quick. If he is gone, does that mean that Luke Gifford is here?
He's a special teams contributor. But I don't want to say those are a dime a dozen, but those aren't the most difficult things.
I'm just throwing out linebacker. Cooper Rush, gone or here?
He's in LA
I think he's
already.
probably back. I think Dalton Schultz is in LA, but I think Cooper Rush realizes, he's got a good gig. The pressure's a little bit different if you go somewhere else. And moving sucks. You know what I mean? Like, I think Cooper Rush probably sticks around.
Terrence Steele?
he's a restricted free agent. So I mean, it would be very impossible to see him leave.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fair though.
I mean, he's hurt, but you never know. Somebody might offer him a bunch of money. All right, moving on from that.
I want you to hear this, and I want your reaction to it. I wanted you to hear this Micah audio, and I want to know if you feel the same way, RJ.
All right, last question. Weirdest thing about you that few people know?
I have a foot fetish.
A foot fetish?
Yeah.
You like toes?
Yeah.
Okay.
RJ, is RJ Ochoa, are you Boomerang? Are you Eddie Murphy Boomerang? Like, she's beautiful, but she got hammer time. I'm not a toe. I don't care. It's not a deal breaker for me. Does RJ Ochoa check the toes on the first date?
You better.
Look, I don't really have a passionate take on this. It was very funny. I did think my biggest takeaway was how like people use the phrase like 0 to 60, 0 to 100.
How quick
that went right in, right?
Yeah. Like he went 0 to light speed. I mean, like he was like Han jumping in and out of light speed. Like it was like, dude, whoa! Like they were just asking for something like you watch Gossip Girl. Like that was what they were looking for, Micah. Like this, you didn't have, and he said it so. And on the one hand, I respect how much conviction he has. I mean, like live your life, Micah. Fly your flag. I mean, like
I guarantee, RJ, in this world we live in, his DM is full of feet. Full of women's feet. I guarantee that's how these women operate nowadays. His DM's full of toe pics.
And there's such a huge difference between an appropriate appreciation of well-kept feet
and a fetish. It's a different.
That is a mile down the road when you get to fetish, because then you start looking at feet a whole different way. And
I just think you guys interviewed a lot of people and had a lot of you've done it a lot and had great times in many different areas. But like, if you're somebody, Rob, when you were doing the EA circuit, when you're somebody who's doing the interviews, like I've never been in that spot, but I'm sure you're coached on things. You know what to and not do. I mean, like if you're using the word fetish, you've gone too far. Like any point, any context, yeah, like that word should never ever come out, and of your own volition. It's not like he was asked about.
And it was quick.
I got a foot fetish.
Like I would have thought he was gonna say, "Hey, I have Justin Bieber in constant rotation," something like that. But I got a foot fetish. I mean, like what?
And you're saying it was quick. It wasn't like I listened to podcasts at 1.5 speed. It wasn't anything like that. Like it was his own speed. I mean, like it was him coming off the edge quick. I mean, it was wild.
I have a foot fetish.
RJ Ochoa.
RJ, real quick, did you see Patrick Mahomes on his bus?
Ooh.
I mean, I did. I don't know what specific.
Is this now going to be a tradition that the starting quarterback has to get completely blitzed in either the parade on earth or on water?
Yeah, I think we've got to have the moment. It's sort of like a ritual. Like you've got to like crush something or chug something, or like it's basically like a freshman at a party. Like that's who the quarterback on the parade becomes. Like you have to do like your own version of a cake stand. And Mahomes very famously, I mean, he did go to Texas Tech, but he's like in love with Coors Light. So I mean, he does kind of push that envelope, I guess. Good for him. But Mahomes, man, your pockets are pretty full. Like, no disrespect to Coors, but
exactly, bro.
This isn't the Saturday tailgate in Lubbock anymore. Like you can live life a little bit differently.
Did you watch the Super Bowl and come away? We got to get and say we're close. When I say we Cowboys, did you walk away from the Super Bowl feeling like, you know what, we can be there next year? In reality, I know you deal in reality.
I mean, the answer is yes, but I think the answer to that question is yes for a lot of teams, like a lot more than you probably think. Like I think Vikings fans are close. I think Giants fans are close. I think obviously Niners. I think the Rams, if they get healthy. I think the Bengals, the Bills, the aforementioned Chargers, the Jaguars. Like there's a lot of teams that if we have to put tiers in, are close. I mean, like I would challenge you to find a pair of two teams, given that the Super Bowl is two teams, that you would take over the field. I mean, would you take the Chiefs and the Eagles over the field next year?
No. I'll take the Chiefs, not the Eagles. I wouldn't throw the Eagles in there because of the coaches and the free agents. No.
And it's a game of parity. It's a game in a league and a life of parity. And so, there are a lot of, like 3 years ago, would you have said, the Bengals, they're close. Watch out.
No.
It's a wild and crazy world that we live in.
You ready for Tiger today? You going to be planted in front of the TV?
I watched the first 2 episodes of Full Swing last night, and it was glorious. It was incredible. Highly recommend. And yeah, I'm not moving anywhere. Tiger's back. Pitchers and catchers reporting. Finally have some time for some PlayStation games. Life is good, despite the fact that the Cowboys didn't win the Super Bowl. But more importantly, it's good because the Eagles did not.
RJ over the field. I'm always taking RJ with my money. You should do the same.
Yeah.
Get on Blogging the Boys. Follow him on Twitter and be informed. Pitchers and catchers are here, and RJ's in a good mood. That's all I needed to know. Have a great weekend, RJ. We'll talk to you next week, my brother.
Eat some salmon. Love y'all.
Salmon, for those who like it fishy.
Love you, RJ.